Welcome to the Powering ProjeX podcast, where we explore the strategies, stories, and insights that make projects thrive. I'm your host, DK, and today we're diving into a topic that we believe we understand, but we often overlook: the importance of change management and how it can help your organization deliver on-point, human-centric outcomes that are well received and adopted. In this episode, we're joined by Romaine Charlton, change manager extraordinaire. I'm going to ask you a question that's totally not on the script
Yeah.
and a little bit unrelated. I know that from some sidebar conversations with you, you had some really good thoughts on this, so I thought I'm just going to throw it out there. You've done some work with AI and some change management with AI, and I want to really understand from you, walking away from those projects, what are the key things that people should be conscious of when they are implementing new AI technology and solutions within their organizations? Like, is there any sort of top three things that you have thought through in hindsight?
I think, look, at the moment, it's either generative or agentic AI, which agentic is taking tasks away. I think at the end of the day, it's all about what are you using the AI, or what's the organization using that AI tool for? So with generative, I think people are probably already using it, to be honest with you. So you probably don't need a full-blown comprehensive change plan. It's about giving people opportunity to experiment and learn and giving them some guidance. So the key thing, and we've talked about this, is around the prompts and how to use AI smarter for yourself. And one particular in change management is using AI to do some of those really, like the communications. That, look, I'm not a big one for communications because most people don't read them. So I'm going to be honest, you can spend hours framing this beautiful thing that maybe someone will read the first two lines, but you can use AI really smartly these days to generate some of that and take some of that, what I call more non-value adding stuff, out of the change space. From a agentic perspective, I think it needs to be, I equate this to the outsourcing, what we've done with outsourcing activities off to, offshore. And to me, that's the AI version in the agentic world. So it is very much about that human empathy. And if people's jobs are impacted by that, it will scare the troops around the organization. So I think it is, again, discovery, making it clear the why, the what, and really following the same principles of good change management, Daniela. That's what, yeah.
Okay. This is really interesting. And I love what you're saying about my interpretation of this, Romaine, and please do correct me if I'm wrong. With the generative AI and the prompting, I know from my own experience, if I write a really crappy prompt, I get a really crappy response.
100%.
And the issue then becomes, how much of your organization accept the response of the generative AI platform based on crappy questions? Yeah. And, and even you and I know this as, domain experts. If I walk into a meeting and ask a silly question, I'm going to only walk out with half the amount of knowledge I need to move to the next step. Yeah. And I can't blame anybody except myself because I asked not so mature questions. It's the same thing with prompt engineering.
100%.
So from my point of view, one of the biggest challenges all organizations are going to face, because prompting is a highly individualized task. Yeah. So the only thing I need to teach people is how robust are your prompts? How, are you asking fully rounded questions? Are you giving enough context? Are you, without selling our commercial secrets down the gurgler, but at the same time, how much are you putting in there that when you get that response, the the LLM understands the full context of how to respond and why? So that's one issue with the prompt engineering. I think that's where we need the most change management and training and
Well, it's
communication,
funny you
if
say
that
that
makes
because
sense.
I was reading an article this morning, and there's a lot on the socials at the moment around how the error rate with, and I think we've seen it with some of the consulting firms that have been highlighted.
Yes.
They basically put, questions, got an answer, and copied and pasted it into a report, which then someone actually read. And it was found to have inaccuracies and misinformation. So I think AI, while it's fantastic, has made us a little bit lazy as well.
Yeah.
And I
So it's
think,
definitely separating
I think
people, sort
part
of the
of it,
wheat from the chaff,
but I
right?
think part of it, Daniela, is everyone is so busy at work doing so much, right? And if we've got this assistant that can alleviate some of that pace to allow us to think and focus on the activities and priorities that matter. And I know I'm guilty of this myself. We use AI to generate something and do a quick read, and that'll do, and copy and paste and send it off, job done, so that now I can breathe and the elephant off my back so I can actually do this really important task. So I think it's generating some of that. And I think it is also generating maybe just a little bit of laziness, in honesty, that we hand off an activity to a bot who we believe is going to understand our question and give us an answer and job done. So I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. And that sort of carved out something in my day that I don't have to do anymore. So yeah, I think you're right. It is about using it smarter, but it sometimes doesn't take away. We still got to read it. So it still does consume energy and interpretation of that. And
This is where I think we have misunderstood the word productivity gain.
yeah,
Because when we say productivity gain, most people think that what that means is, and maybe quite rightly, right? I have to go and I have to look up the word productivity, but everyone thinks that means I'm going to do things quicker. Whereas what I've found, I've been hammering generative AI for the last 6 months because I've been doing some work with it. And what I've discovered is I ask my prompt, I get a response. I go and have a look at all of the citations. Is this really what was said? Yeah. And sometimes I might open 4 or 5 of those citations and go and read those articles to double check, because I have been, I too have made the mistake where it said, well, PMI said 70% of this. And I was like, where did PMI say that? Do you know what I mean? Now, after the first or second time that happened, I was like, no, I'm actually going to go find that paper, see it with my own eyes, download it, save it in my own file so that I can go back to it and prove it if I was ever asked to. And I go out of my way to do it now. But as you can see, I didn't save any time doing that. But the quality of what I was doing did increase because I found the citations. I knew that they were right. And the computer was able to find those, those statistics and all the rest of it and bring them together, correct, as data points for me much quicker than had I been able to do it myself. If I had done it by hand, I wouldn't have even known to go looking for half of them.
That's what I would have said. It actually gives you data points so you mightn't have even. But you're probably, and I shouldn't assume, you're probably an unusual person to go and actually download some of the citations.
I do now.
And actually validate that. So I guess it depends on the importance and what data it is you're pulling together to show to who your audience is, and the priority of what you're doing as to whether we should check what AI spits out it is. But it's particularly if we're doing research, absolutely. But there was an interesting case that was shared. There's this, I think they're a consulting firm called Earth to Mars. I think I've told you about them before. And they said that the case study that the Commonwealth Bank recently introduced agentic AI into one of their support centres, and they let go of all these people. But what they didn't realise was actually when they implemented this, that the amount of calls it generated from customers who actually wanted to speak to a human was greater than before. So it's a really interesting dynamic. And I hadn't thought about it because I think when I equated offshoring to the equivalent of agentic AI, it's not quite true, actually, what I just said, because now that I'm talking through it, agentic is handing the task over to a digital agent. So even with the offshoring, it was still a human to human. Whereas so that really triggered as humans. I must admit, it's triggered me now to think, actually, I'm actually not comfortable just talking. I actually want to talk to a human.
Correct. And I can give you a classic example of this. So I've been using some software lately. Every time I request customer support, I have to have a 10 email exchange with a chatbot. And I did it twice. And the unfortunate part about the chatbot is because it doesn't have obviously they've set it to very low memory. So it was struggling to remember what was in my first, second, third email, which meant by the fourth email, it had totally forgotten why
it said in the previous email.
Correct. So I was having to constantly reiterate what my problem was, to the point where by the second or third time this had happened, I was remembering to copy and paste it into an email because I knew it was going to ask me three chats later. So what happened then was I finally got to the point where I decided to leave this particular software product, because I think what they have done is they have forgotten your users are human. Yeah, fair enough. If I ask 2 questions to the chatbot and the chatbot sends me to the FAQs and the FAQs have not solved my problem and I come back, I need a human.
I need to talk to someone,
Yeah? Correct. And continuing, putting me in a position where 100% of your customer support is chatbot delivered, I'm really sorry, that's not going to win you any friends or customers. I think what all organizations need to learn through this evolution is, where do I need to be human and where do I not need to be human? And don't mistake the two. Yeah, really important. So that is I think that's change management lesson 101 for AI implementation.
And that's sort of, so we can't forget that humans still actually want to interact with humans. And I guess implementing agentic AI into the corporate world is about, to your word, productivity, efficiency, cost reduction, which we don't stop talking about, to be honest. But is it actually, if we create more problems and our data isn't accurate and we've got to then go and solve something, that we need humans to have a level of judgment? I think that's the thing. Humans are still needed in that AI process because we have judgment around the information that's put in front of us, and we need to evaluate it. That's a very interesting topic just on its own.
Well, Romaine, thank you so much for exploring all of those areas with me. Your advice is essential for any project manager that's aiming for project success. So how can listeners find you and learn more about you?
Thanks for having me, Daniela. It's been great. I've enjoyed our chat. And I am really pleased that some of our conversation has enlightened you and you've thought about it as well. So that's amazing. So I'm on LinkedIn, Romaine Charlton, or I've also got my website, romainecharlton.com. So find me there.
Beautiful. I will put that in the show notes for everybody. So thank you so much. As we wrap up, once again, a very, very big thank you. You are such a beautiful person. You've got such a lovely aura about you. And thank you for taking us on the change management journey today. It's lovely to pass time with you. And of course, talk about my favorite topic, which is projects. And thank you to all of our faithful listeners for tuning into this episode of Powering ProjeX. As you know, I welcome your feedback. Hence, Feel free to drop us a comment or a suggestion, and thanks in advance for caring enough to share it with me. And in closing, if you want to join a community that puts your career first, gain global connections, cutting edge skills, and hear from voices just like Romaine's who are shaping the project management industry, please do subscribe, drop us a review, and tell your friends. So let's make change management a project game changer. Until next time, keep powering your projects with purpose from vision to victory. This is DK and Romaine signing out. Bye. The content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute professional, legal, or financial advice. The opinions expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organisations or sponsors. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information on project management methodologies and related topics, no guarantee is made regarding the completeness, accuracy, or applicability of the content to your specific circumstances. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions based on the information shared in this podcast. The hosts, guests, and producers are not liable for any losses, damages, or outcomes resulting from the use of this podcast's content. By listening to this podcast, you agree to assume all risks associated with the application of the information provided. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you'll find value in our discussions.